and welcome in to the Blanket Coverage Podcast. Today is Thursday, March the 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day to everyone out there. We already had a double overtime game last night, but as you can see in the middle of our screen, there is a beautiful, beautiful bracket just ready to get filled out, and we are going to do that today. I am joined by Jack Wallace, who is on his way to the games in Buffalo today. He is in the car, so obviously sound quality not going to be optimal, but we are all about riding the excitement factor today. Jack, before we start, this is a very important gambling day. I would like to know maybe one or two gambling picks that you have for this wonderful Thursday.
Well, for some gambling picks, it is going to be always interesting with college sports versus a lot of NFL stuff, because we know that especially in March Madness, things can be so volatile, and it's very tricky to sort of pick out exactly what you may get. But a few of these games I'm somewhat confident about. One of them I know is not the most exciting pick in the world, but is going to have to be if you're going to pick a 1 seed to trounce over a 16 seed today. I'm really liking with Gonzaga covering Georgia State.
Yeah.
We know it's been actually a pretty decent tournament team in the last few years, but don't be fooled this year. The Panthers barely made the tournament after a very solid run in the Sun Belt Conference, but they were not very good throughout the regular season, and I was not very confident about them coming into here. So if there's ever going to be the repeat of UMBC Virginia, it's not going to be against the Zags today. I think that might be the biggest blowout of any of the games here today. So I'm not sure what exactly the line is on that, but I think that's going to be a fairly easy one to predict.
Well, and you know, some of these 1 seeds, right, they're used to playing top tier competition all year. The Zags are 100% used to playing awful teams and just beating them down.
Not as much as normally though. West Coast Conference has become a lot better with St. Mary's, with BYU, with San Francisco, even Santa Clara put together a solid season. Like there are a lot better teams in the West Coast Conference than we normally see. It's still obviously no Big 10 or Big 12 or SEC, but it isn't exactly a premier conference as the others, but it still is quite solid. But yes, Gonzaga should not have any trouble today anyway.
My gambling pick of the day, a little spoiler alert, South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits are going to get it done today. I have a stat to back that up. And then I've got Murray State beating San Francisco. So those are my two
San Francisco.
picks.
San Francisco's a lock to lose. I'm very confident about that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Head coach just getting fired 2 days ago due to sexual assault harassment allegations. Yeah, that's not happening.
And you could say, Jack, because I spent so much time yesterday filling out my bracket, not just filling it out, but doing the subsequent research. You could say that we're brack addicts.
I filled out so many. And I'm not done yet either. After this, I'm going to fill out a couple more. We're not done yet.
No, I am hooked on brack. As they say, as the kids say. As the young guns say. All right, Jack, we've got this beautiful bracket here in front of us. We're going to go game by game. We're going to pick every single game, every single round until we come up with national champion. Jack and I are going to vote, and then Jack's driving partner at the moment is going to give us a tiebreaker. Jack, I need you to introduce our tiebreaker here.
So this is James Cataddo. He is a resident master's student with me up in Syracuse. Hello. He's quite knowledgeable on basketball. Joey is another good friend of ours. He's kind of all on that together. So he's another friend of mine that knows his stuff well. So he'll be greatly appreciated today.
Excited to get it.
No No shortage of college basketball experts in Syracuse, New York. That is 100% a fact.
Very true.
So let's start. Let's do it. Let's get going here. Gonzaga versus Georgia State. We've already been over this. I think we both have Gonzaga here. Is that safe to say?
That's we can move on from that.
All right.
That's
here.
I don't think we need to question that game very much.
No. Here's one that and traditionally the 9 seeds actually have the upper hand, but it's 51%, I believe. So it's a toss-up. It is a toss-up game. All the 8-9 seeds are going to be toss-up games. But Boise State and Memphis. Now, I think this one is the toss-up of all toss-ups.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad pick here.
No, Boise State won the Mountain West. They've been hot down the stretch. Very good defensive team. Memphis started out struggling a little bit, but a lot of their really talented players that Penny Hardaway has been bringing in have been coming into their own. Jalen Duren is going to be a lottery pick this year. But we've seen some of these teams that are stacked with lottery picks but never really figured it out. We've seen them struggle in the NCAA tournament. Just going with my pick here, I'm going to pick the Broncos. They've got a lot of older dudes on that team. I think they're a little bit more mature. Obviously, both these teams won their conference tournament, but I think Boise State had a stronger season overall before going through their conference tournament. So I'm going to go with Boise State here. But, I mean, it's a true toss-up, and if you really want a good play for this game, take the under.
And just because of that, I might be feeling a little more of what Memphis has brought to the table, and simply because of what they've been able to do down the stretch. Because I get they've had such a tough start of the season. They were 9-8 to start off, but they've been 10-1 since then. And I think that speaks a lot to what this team has put together. And I do believe the Mountain West has put together some solid teams this year. We see what Colorado State's been able to produce out of this. But I think the American Conference has once again been a very, very solid addition to teams, especially with teams like Houston doing very well and getting a high seeding here. So I think Memphis is able to bring that a little bit. So I may have them in this game.
All right. We go to the tiebreaker. James, you're needed early. Boise State or Memphis?
So for me, right, I think that you got to look at strength of schedule, right, kind of like what Jack said. Memphis had a weird start to the year, right? Penny Hardaway had that weird, temper tantrum that he had, and then they really started to figure it out. And then losing Amani Bates to injury, right, not ideal, but Penny did say that there was a chance that he plays in this opening game. So I think if you have a healthy Amani Bates, I'm taking Memphis all day to move to the next round.
All right. We will go with Memphis. Okay, moving on. Yukon versus New Mexico State. Now, this is a little bit of a popular upset pick here. The 5-12s are usually pretty ripe upset seeding matchup. However, New Mexico State has a great habit out of, I believe, the is it the WAC?
Yeah, I
believe it's the WAC. Yeah. New Mexico State wins the WAC almost every year. I believe it's 8 out of the last 9 years since they've joined the conference. New Mexico State wins the WAC every year, and they've never made it past the first round of the tournament. I'm not going to start that today. I'm going Yukon.
Yeah, I do believe a 5-12 upset is going to happen this year. I'm fairly confident about that, but I don't really think it's going to be this one. I think they're catching Yukon at a bad time, and I think this Connecticut team has really turned it up again. We may not have seen old Connecticut really back yet, but they're definitely on the right path to getting there, and I think this team is good enough to get that. This is actually one of the games we'll be watching today. We will be in attendance for this game, as well as the next one, too.
Awesome. So moving on to the next game, you'll be in attendance for, Yukon. I think there is a 12-seed upset in here. It's not this one. Arkansas versus Vermont. Now, the Catamounts are getting a little bit of attention here. Arkansas has kind of limped on the road so far this year. However, JD Notte has been playing lights out down the stretch of the season, and I don't think this is Vermont's best team in recent memory. So I'm going to go with the Hogs here, at least to make it past the first round.
I'm not as confident in Arkansas as you are, but I do think that they're still going to win this game. And I think that it is impressive what Vermont has been able to do within the America East, but beating UNBC by 20 is not the same thing as beating an Arkansas team by anything. And I do also see, just to point this out, that those America East teams that did well but did not win their conference, well, they've been getting their doors blown off the NIT. So that goes to show you the competition that Vermont's been up against so far. So due to that reason, I'm still going to go with Arkansas. I was a little more leaning on the upset, but after seeing what the NIT has had the last couple of days, which I know people talk about, the NIT doesn't really mean much, doesn't do anything, but it actually, I think watching a lot of the NIT helps a lot of what this is, because it really goes to show you what kind of competition some of these teams in the tournament have faced. So I think because of that, because those America East teams have been losing even more there, I respect Vermont, and I think they can put up a fight. I really do, but I just don't see them pulling this one out. I think Dante's good enough to get a win here.
Absolutely, I think you're spot on there with that NIT factoid there. All right, so next game, this one's a fun one. Alabama versus Notre Dame. We have had an 11 seed reach the Final Four, I believe, with every year except, not Final Four, sorry, Sweet 16. We've had an 11 seed reach the Sweet 16, I believe, every year, maybe with the exception of one. I'd need to look back at this stat, courtesy of the Bear from College Game Day, Chris Felica. But I believe every year since the first four started, at least one team from the first four, being an 11 seed, has gone to the Sweet 16. So, what do we do here? Because I really like the SEC here. I think the SEC has been probably the most. I think the SEC was the best conference this year. Obviously, I didn't watch as much basketball as you did, but I think the SEC has been a really, really good conference, and I like these. And I like the coaches too. I think they have some very good coaching jobs. Nate Oates has done a phenomenal job with Alabama with the Tide. I'm gonna pick Alabama here. I wanted an 11 seed in the Sweet 16, but I don't think it's gonna be this one. So I'm gonna pick Bama here. But I'm interested to see where you go as a big ACC guy.
As an ACC guy, I'm actually going to pick Alabama with confidence. I don't trust Notre Dame after needing 2 overtimes to beat Rutgers, and I am aware that this could be a UCLA situation where they take a really hard time beating a team in that play-in game and then proceed to go all the way deep. But I don't think that Notre Dame is nearly on the same level as what UCLA was last year, and I don't think that's going to happen. I know Alabama can either show up really huge or fall very flat, but I really trust them in this game, and I just don't believe that Alabama's going to fall that flat that fast.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. All right, Texas Tech versus Montana State. Any upset chance here? I don't think we really need to dig into this one much.
Texas Tech's defense is way too good. That's one of the best defensive teams in the country. I don't think they're going to fall to a team like Montana State that early. That defense is way too good. You can always have a cold shooting day, but a good defense is good defense.
Here's a little bit of controversy for you. Michigan State versus Davidson. Now, Davidson was easily the best team in the A-10 this year. They score with a high volume. They shoot a lot of threes. They actually have a former Michigan State transfer on their team who's their best player. I like the Wildcats here. I think it's a very strong team. I think they've been a better team than Michigan State all year long. And having their best player as a former Michigan State player just makes it a little bit sweeter. I think they can taste that game with Duke in the second round with an opportunity to send Coach K packing into retirement. Not to get too far ahead here, but I really like the Wildcats in this one.
I like them too, and I think for those same reasons you've talked about. Like Michigan State's been very, very up and down this season. They've had some big wins, they've had some big losses. They haven't really shown as much consistency as we've liked. And I really hate to have Michigan State lose in the opening round 2 years in a row because I really do enjoy them. So I hate to see that happen. But last year they shouldn't have blown it, and they did, and I think they may do the same this season. Davidson's a very dangerous team that should not be overlooked, and I feel like they might get overlooked a little. As much as I do like Izzo, and frankly, if Michigan State does pull this game off, I think they could get past Duke, but I think I like Davidson in here a little too much.
Yeah, I got the Wildcats, and I would go a little bit more into that game, but I want to save a little bit of time here because we've got a lot of games to pick. All right.
Yes.
The 2 seed, Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. Do we need to spend time on this?
I love the Titans, but they aren't good enough to win this game. The Big West is always an entertaining conference. Fantastic tournament run in the Big West. They were not supposed to really get far at all, and they ended up winning the whole thing. So just got to shout out the team for a little bit. We love the little guys making a run and making their way here. But to face Coach K in his final season is pretty brutal to do to this team. So, yeah, I don't think this will be close.
Just a note, Coach K has lost to a 2 seed or lost to a 15 seed twice in the first round. So a little something to watch there, but it's not happening this year. He's got potentially 5 first-round picks on his roster. No chance. All right, Baylor versus Norfolk State. Now, we've seen Norfolk State before in the first round. We've seen them before when they beat Mizzou back in the day as a 15 seed. Now they are up against a little taller task against the defending national champions, the Baylor Bears.
Despite being the defending national champs,
go Frogs.
This is the shakiest 1 seed.
Yeah, sucks to be you. And historically, the shakiest 1 seed. We'll get. I got a factoid for you, but we're gonna save it for the next round. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Baylor here. What do you think? We're. Are you good? Are you good? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thought I lost you for a sec. Sorry.
No, just wasn't much to add on that. I mean, it's 1, but they're gonna win.
Cool. All right. Next up, UNC versus Marquette. Now, I think everyone's penciling in UNC here. I really think Marquette can make it a game, especially since UNC has been so up and down. But I think UNC gets it done. I'm not very confident in that. I can be swayed. What say you?
The thing with UNC is the question is with their victory over Duke and Cameron, and then they have the loss to Virginia Tech. The question is was the win over Duke just because it was the Duke game and it was Coach K and it was all the hype and it was all whatever, and then they lost to Virginia Tech because they aren't that good? Or did they lose to Virginia Tech because Virginia Tech really is that legit? They are making a hot run and they're looking good, and the Duke win kind of exposed Duke a little more. That's kind of the question.
Virginia Tech,
what way are we going to frame this?
I don't think Virginia Tech is necessarily legit, but they did beat Duke and UNC 2 days in a row. That's a team that got hot and was able to carry that through a tournament. I don't think it's who they are or who they will be. I'm going to go with Carolina here. Just personally, you have not swayed me in the other direction. But let's get a vote on this game and let's move on. Because these are toss-ups, like we said.
With UNC and Marquette, I think Marquette is good enough to get them a win here.
Yeah,
UNC
obviously the most talented team out of the two. But we know talent doesn't always win ball games in March, especially on the first day.
Yeah, I think he is good enough to win that game for them.
St. Mary's versus Indiana. Now, out of all the 5-12 games, I think this one might be the most interesting on paper because obviously you've got Indiana, who was one of the last 4 teams in, up against St. Mary's, who got in as an at-large bid as a 5 seed from the WAC next to Gonzaga there. Sorry. Yeah, not the WAC, the WCC. Sorry.
Yes.
I got 2 out of 3. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good batting average.
Good enough. You got the West in there.
Yeah, Western and Conference.
Yeah.
All right, so St. Mary's, Indiana. I know St. Mary's has been hot down the stretch, but I got a feeling about Indiana. I have a feeling about Indiana. I don't know that St. Mary's and Wyoming wouldn't have been a very close game. And Indiana pretty much dominated Wyoming and was able to control that game throughout. So I'm going to go with St. Mary's, but I think it's going to be really, really fishy. And I'm going with St. Mary's personally because there's another 12 seed that I've got my eye on.
I'm actually quite confident in St. Mary's in this game. I know Indiana put up a solid fight here, but Indiana's dropped a lot of questionable games over the season too. So no, I'm pretty confident in St. Mary's. I don't think it's going to be extremely close. I think Wyoming is a lot worse than what St. Mary's brought to the table.
Yeah. All right. UCLA, fresh off a Final Four run. I am wary of the 4 seeds because 4 seed is not a good place to be traditionally, but I don't think Akron is going to be the one to derail UCLA's hopes to return to the Final Four.
Akron was a pretty low seed in the MAC to win the tournament. I don't think they're that good, and I think UCLA is going to win this handily.
All right. So we've got chalk.
Yeah.
We've got chalk
I know
far.
it's chalky, but I don't see an upset there at all.
Well, there's always a chalky side of the bracket. There's always a chalky side of the bracket.
There's always there's always.
I think this one could get fun though. Texas versus Virginia Tech, and we said it yesterday when we were planning out this call. There is no in between. Texas is either going to lose in the first round or go to at least the Sweet 16. So which one is it, Jack?
I think they're going to lose now. I think Virginia Tech has the chops to win this game. They've beaten a lot harder teams in the last few days. And I think Texas, especially after Texas fell really early in the Big 12 to a TCU team that they should have beaten, but TCU was able to control and win the game. I think there are a lot of metrics pointing Virginia Tech at the upset here. I really like them.
All right. I'm going to agree with you there just because I don't want to pick Texas. Texas is one of the most infuriating teams to watch. It's just one of the most infuriating teams to watch. And we have all chalk in this bracket.
Nothing warmed my heart more than them losing to ACU last year. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, love that. And nothing would make more sense for Beard's first year than losing in the first round to a 19-win Virginia Tech team. That would be awesome. All right, so Purdue versus Yale. I am not confident in Purdue for this tournament just based off of Matt Painter's tournament history. However, he's only lost Purdue's only lost like 3 first-round games since 1990. And none of those times were they as high a seed as they are now. Every one of those was a 4 seed or lower. So just based off of the seeding and off of the school history and what we know about the school and the coach, I'm going to go with Purdue here. Plus, they have a kid who's 7'3", and I don't think Yale has that kind of size on the roster.
No, I think Purdue's going to get this one.
Plus, Jaden Ivey is an absolute stud. I love watching that kid play.
I'm not super confident there. But what we got next here?
Murray State, San Francisco. We already went over it.
Murray State to the moon.
Over the Racers. Murray State to the moon. I am all over the Racers. All over the Racers. We'll get to that later. Kentucky versus, is that St. Peter's? It just says SPU.
My mom went with St. Peter's in this game, but I'm gonna have to disagree with her here. I think Kentucky's gonna take this one, but you never know. I mean, Oral Roberts went to the Sweet 16. I mean, I don't think anyone could have seen that coming. So you never know.
I
100%
100% agree with you there.
But
All right, Arizona,
Wright
State. Wright State, props for beating Bryant. I don't think they're going to win a second game here.
Yeah, and I would love to see it, though. Wouldn't complain. But
no analysis necessary for the next one. Go!
Let's go!
Let's go! It's huge. I love it.
After 4 long years. And we talked about this ahead of time. We're saying Jamie was on the very, very hot seat coming into the season. And what does he do with a team full of transfers and Mike Miles?
Takes the frogs to the tourney. Takes the frogs dancing. We love that. All right, Seton Hall has no chance, so let's just get out of the way. They have no shot. No shot.
James, you're forgetting that we're 2 TCU guys. So we're going to pick the frogs no matter what.
Woo!
No, Seton Hall is good, but TCU, I still love TCU in this game.
All right. Here is an interesting one. An exciting one. We got Houston UAB. Houston was the favorite to win the American all year. They've been so good all year, but they lost their 2 best players for the tournament.
Yeah.
UAB had a hell of a run in their conference tournament.
They did.
Jelly Walker, 40-point game in overtime. However, I think Houston's defense is just too good. They play great team defense. They've got a lot of depth on the bench, and I don't know how far of a run they make in this tournament, but I don't think it ends here.
This seems like a concoction for an upset because you have your 2 guys out. UAB's had one hell of a run into Conference USA, which I get it's Conference USA is not premier competition, but you do get teams like North Texas out of the way out of there, which North Texas is a very solid team, and I fully expected them to make the tournament. I was quite surprised when they didn't. So I think this could be, if you're going to look at the 5-12 upset, I think this is one of the ones most primed to be it. And
I think so too.
And because I mean, compared to, I'm looking at the screen because it's small, but compared to teams like Yukon and New Mexico State, I think this has way better upset potential than that because I think UAB is a much better team than what New Mexico
and
State.
And Houston's on the ropes. They're coming off a loss.
Yeah, I that's why I like UAB in this one. I think this could be a big one they can win. I wouldn't be shocked if Houston won this game. There still is a ton of talent on that team. But this is an upset that I'm mostly confident, not extremely, but I'm mostly confident about.
All right. Tiebreaker.
Jack knows because of all the group chat slander that I've done of the Cougars.
A little too much in my opinion, but he still gets it.
I think Houston, total frauds. I've been on the fraud train of Houston since last year. I don't like the fact that they're coming off of that loss. I think that UAB is a really athletic team and a fast team. So it's going to make for a really good game because you have a really jittery, fast, athletic team going up against a defensive team. But again, Houston's missing big pieces. I'm taking UAB. I'm taking UAB for the upset.
All right. So there's our upset. All right, next up, Illinois versus Chattanooga. We have an unstoppable force meets an immovable object here because the Big Ten has not been good in recent tournaments. However, the Southern Conference has never won a game since College of Charleston did it in, I think 2010, something like that, 2009.
Yeah.
So it's been a solid 10-year run of the Southern Conference losing in the first round. I don't think that stops here. I'm going with the Illini.
Yeah, Illinois, I know they lost last year in the second round, and they could have gone all the way, but they lose very, very early. I think this year they can get a little bit of redemption back. I know they're not as good as they were last year, of course, going from a 1 seed to a 4 seed, but they should be good enough to take care of business here. I don't think Chattanooga has quite what it takes to get it done, though I do think they could surprise people and pull up a decent game. They've had a very good season, but
no doubt.
They're no frauds coming into this game, but I do think that Illinois has got a little bit of a bone to pick here at the tournament, saying that they want to come back and play solidly. So I think with that energy, they're going to come out and be solid here.
Yeah, and what kind of contingency plan do you have for Kofi Coburn if you're the Mocs here? Because that's a tough one. 20 points and 12 rebounds a game is not it's going to be ridiculous. All right, next up, and let's get some pace here so we can get to the next round. Colorado State, Michigan. I think this one is a really, really fascinating game, because the 11 seeds have historically had a lot of success. Juwan Howard, obviously back coaching for Michigan, but Colorado State has been very strong this year. So what's I want to hear your opinion first on this game.
I really like Colorado State here. I just not a lot about Michigan has impressed me this year, what they should have been, and I think they were arguable to even make the tournament in the first place. I wasn't super confident about them, and I'm a lot more confident in a team like Colorado State. And I get they get Juwan Howard back, and I get that is a big deal. But I also get not having your coach for that long of time and then saying, all right, here you go. Now you got like 2 days, and then boom, you're in the tournament. That seems like a very quick turnaround for a team that's already not had an overwhelming amount of success this season. Again, they haven't been bad, obviously. They're still in the tournament, but they haven't been nearly as successful as they should have been, and I think that disappointment's going to continue. I really like what Colorado State's done, and I think they're a better team here.
All right. So we are going to go with Colorado State. All right.
And I know you're excited about this one.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I have too many tabs open trying to find it here. All right, Colorado State. The University of Tennessee Volunteers. Good old Rocky Top is playing against a school called Longwood. Now, I just now came up with like 4 jokes in my head, and I'm not going to say any of them because I didn't really like finish writing them. But Tennessee is going to chop down the Longwood today, or tomorrow, or whatever this game is. I have to work today, so I'm
We're going to chop down the Longwoods?
Yeah, we're going to chop down the Longwoods. The Vols are going to the second round.
Yeah, I'm very confident in this. Tennessee was arguably a 2 seed, and I think that they're putting up against a team that, while they had a good season, has I think they're one of the few debut teams. I don't think they've ever made the tournament before. And this is a pretty rude awakening to enter March Madness, having to play Tennessee first round. So, no, I'm not. Yeah. I feel bad for Longwood. I don't think they're going to do anything here.
All right, Ohio State, Loyola, Chicago. I think
it's an easy pick.
You think so?
I think it's an easy pick.
You think so? Because Ohio State has 2 of the best players in the Big Ten. They've been pretty inconsistent all year long as a team, but they do have the team talent. I'm with you here, though. It's an easy pick for me.
It's an easy pick.
You can't go against Sister Jean in the first round.
She's in attendance.
She's
she will
there.
Be there.
She's there.
That's game.
Gotta go with Loyola here.
That's game.
All right. Villanova versus Delaware. I know Jameer Nelson Jr. is a fun one to watch, but we're going with Villanova here, right?
Who is the superior blue? I think the Wildcats are going to be a little more superior than the Blue Hens.
The Blue Hens. That's an all-time bad mascot. That's got to be top 5 bad mascots.
Zoom in on the logo.
Now, let's see if I can. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, there we are. Look at how menacing that is.
The terrifying Blue Hens.
Blue chicken. Afraid. Not even a rooster. All right. Kansas, Texas Southern. We're not going to go there. San Diego State, Creighton. Creighton made
Zoom in a little more, by the way, on these.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, San Diego State, Creighton. Creighton coming off of a big run in the Big East tournament, still the most electric conference tournament in college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But San Diego State, decent year in the Mountain West. They've had a lot of success in the past, obviously. So this is a battle of 2 kind of programs that are having a little bit of a down year, but that have had a lot of success in the past. So, Jack, what is your opinion on this game? Because, I mean, like every 8-9 game, I could go either way.
This one's kind of tough, but I feel like you got to respect what Creighton's been able to do recently. And if it wasn't for that really, really good run, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't think they would be a 9 seed here, but I think they've earned that spot very well, and they've been trending a lot up. So I think for that really high trend up, they're going to be here. And then San Diego State was a team that was in prime position to do a lot in the Mountain West, and ended up not really getting much of anywhere, and seeing Boise State get the crown. So I think because of that, I'm going to have to go with Creighton here, just because of what they've been able to do recently. And, you know, you get a little bit of Midwest blue bird action with the Nebraska-based Creighton Blue Jays against the Kansas-based Kansas Jayhawks. So I think it'll be a fun matchup.
All right. So we got Creighton in that one. Iowa versus Richmond. Here's where I jump off the bus. Everyone, and I mean everyone, because I have listened to so many like bracket breakdown, like bracket pick shows. Everyone loves Iowa to like make the Final Four, win the national championship as a 5 seed. They're hot at the right time. They can score. They play at the fastest pace of anyone in the country. They get up more shot attempts than any major team in the country. And they've got Keegan Murray, who's like 27 a game in the Big Ten tournament. So they've got big-time players. They've got a big-time team. And I'm going with Richmond because everyone and their mother is all over, just slobbering all over, drooling themselves over the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they're going to lose in the first round. It's an all-time media jinx.
I think they're too good to pass that up. I'm not convinced enough that that's overhyped. I think that they've put together a good enough resume to make it worth it, and I think they're deserving of their spot. Plus the fact that Richmond has had a solid run, yes, but their team isn't nearly as strong enough overall, and I think that's going to catch up with them. I don't think that's going to be as tight.
I'm zagging
it's
on
hard
this
for me
one.
to go against them.
I'm zagging on this one. I got Richmond, but tiebreaker.
Richmond had a really good run in their conference tournament. You never trust a team from the Big Ten in March. Oh my God, I don't want to pick Iowa because I feel like they're gonna have a choke job, kind of like what you said. But it's just so like, how do you not pick Iowa in this situation?
I know it seems so obvious, and that's why I'm not doing it.
And again, we're gonna be in attendance at this game as well. This game is gonna be in Buffalo today, so we'll be watching it live. It would not surprise me if Iowa lose this game, though. It would not surprise me, but I'm going to take Iowa.
All right.
Sorry to usurp your pick, but
it's okay because I got another one.
Yeah, we got
Providence, South Dakota State. I am ecstatic.
Now this is where you got me.
I need to find this stat because it's probably the best stat I found yesterday.
Jesse, while you look for this, I'll bring up one of my own. It may have shifted a little bit since I've last looked it up, so don't take this exact number for word. But the last that I've seen it, South Dakota State was shooting at about a 45% clip from three as a team. That's over 5% better than any other team in all of college basketball. And I think that stuff like that is what's going to make this team prime for an upset, as well as Providence has been very shaky down the stretch. So this I think is a lot more prime for an upset because I think South Dakota State's playing a lot better than Richmond, and I think that Providence is in a lot shakier position than Iowa is. So this is a game that I could see being an upset. All right. This is actually the first game today. This is the first game we're going to see at 12:40 Eastern time. So
I've got some bones on this game. South Dakota State money line.
Jackrabbits, baby.
Spoiler alert. So Providence, this is courtesy of the Bear, Chris Felica on Twitter. Providence is currently a 2-point favorite over South Dakota State. There has never been a 4 seed this short of a favorite in the round of 64. Both 4 seeds, which were 2.5-point favorites, which is previously the lowest spread, Both 4 seeds, which were 2.5-point favorites, lost outright. Vandy to Murray State in 2010 and Dayton to Tulsa in 2003. I think this is a huge flag it game. I'm going with the Jackrabbits. They haven't lost a game since December.
Since December?
Since December.
Oh my God. I'm really excited to watch this team today. I'm really
21 straight.
They're going to be
21 straight for the Jackrabbits.
That's incredible.
All right. LSU Iowa State. Will Wade is human garbage and glad to see him gone, and also unemployed and probably going to get subpoenaed here pretty soon. So I'm taking Iowa State.
Because of that. Yeah, this would have been a lot more complicated of a pick if all of those facts were untrue. But sadly for LSU, everything you just said was indeed accurate, including being a garbage person. That also is an objective fact. So I don't really even
Let's not forget garbage program.
I don't even like Iowa State that much in the tournament this season, and I still think they're going to win this game. So I mean, I'm not confident about Iowa State. I just think that there's way too much going on with LSU to prevent them from winning it. So yeah, I think Iowa State's going to win this purely off of LSU's incompetence.
Agreed. All right. So next up, Wisconsin versus Colgate. Colgate was the talk of the town last year, but Wisconsin has the Big Ten Player of the Year on their team.
Do it, Jack. Do it, Jack.
I don't know about that, because this year's Colgate is last year's Colgate, but everyone has more experience and is better. So because of that, I actually think Colgate gets it done. And I'm aware that I picked them to beat Arkansas last season, and I ended up being wrong. And I was very confident about that. But if they don't win this game, I'll never pick Colgate again in my life. But because fool me once. But I really like Colgate here, and I think they really can deliver. And I know getting an 11 and a 14 to advance on one side is unusual, but I think this has the makings for an upset. And I know Wisconsin's good. I know they're a really tough draw. They are. But
don't do it, James.
I think Colgate's good enough.
I think
they're good enough.
Don't do it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
So hear me out. Colgate has the toughest draw that's not a 1 seed in the whole tournament, right? Because you're drawing Wisconsin in Milwaukee.
They got screwed.
Awful draw, right? Terrible. On the other hand, I just spoke to the mayor of the village that Colgate is located in, and they did say that they're sending a rather large cohort of Colgate Raiders fans to Milwaukee. I don't know how many people are going to be filling the seats at the Pfizer. I'm picking Wisconsin. I want to pick Colgate so badly, and it's in my bracket that I have Colgate upsetting Wisconsin, but they have home court advantage, and they're going to have a crazy turnout. I want to pick Colgate. I'd love to see the upset. 3-14 be awesome, but it's Wisconsin on home territory. They're not losing.
All right.
Sadly.
All right. So USC versus Miami. I will never pick Miami in the tournament ever again. This is an easy pick. This is a shoe-in. Miami sucks. They're a trash program. They're a garbage basketball team with a garbage head coach, and USC is going to trounce them by 25 points.
James has missed this. Noah has a few teams and organizations and players that he has specific rants for, and Miami men's basketball is one of them. There's a few different terms, but that like subjects on which Noah has some great rants. But Miami men's basketball. The reason why I'm going with USC in this game is because they are way, way bigger, and they are an elite rebounding and defensive team, and I think that's what's going to get the job done in March.
And they're actually like a good team, unlike Miami.
I'm not as anti-Miami as you are, but I think a team that is just that good at second chance points and rebounding and defensively is going to do well against a team like Miami. So I think that because they're very inverted teams, because it's going to be a very interesting game to watch because they're all sort of good at the opposite things. So, yeah, I think the lack of size Miami has is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Enfield versus Jim Larinega, who just ever since George Mason, just hates winning basketball games for some reason. I don't know. Maybe, after all these years, Jim, maybe you finally just kind of lost that spark for winning games, especially after Miami lost in the first round back in 2010. That was the worst game. I thought that team was going to win the national championship, and that's the reason for my vendetta against Miami, because they're a trash basketball program, and no matter what the best team they put out is, they're just always the most disappointing team in college basketball. So garbage athletic program and a garbage team. USC is going to take that game by 20 points. Auburn versus Jacksonville State. Now, if there's going to be a 2-15 upset, I think this is probably the most likely one. But I don't see it happening.
The problem here is that Jacksonville State has a Mickey Mouse bid. That's the problem.
Yes. You're exactly right. I almost forgot about that. They
have a Mickey Mouse bid.
No shot.
Jacksonville State didn't even win their conference, and they were close-ish, but they didn't even go to the title game. So
the college basketball gods are not shining their light favorably.
This would be one of the wildest upsets in March Madness history if Auburn lost this game. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. All right, so we have finally, after 45 minutes, wrapped up the first round.
This will go by quicker, though. This
will go by a lot quicker. We spent 40 minutes on that.
We had fun, though. That's what matters.
We had a lot of fun. All right, Gonzaga versus Memphis. I'm taking the Zags.
I'm still rolling Zags.
They're so good. They're so talented.
They're not going to lose to Memphis. I know. They're winning.
Yukon, Arkansas. Just based off of 4 seeds in general, I'm going to go with Yukon, and couple that with how shaky Arkansas has been away from home.
Arkansas's lack of size as well. I think that could hurt them too.
Yeah. So Yukon there. All right, Alabama, Texas Tech. We were shaky on Alabama in the first round. We were very sure about Texas Tech.
Yeah,
and I think
this is not hard for me personally. I think Tech's going to roll in this one. Their defensive team is too good, and Bama's been known to shake against good teams.
Raider Rash is going to be rampant out west.
Raider Rash.
I'll tell you that much. Raider Rash. All right. Davidson versus Duke. Now, if there's anything we know about Coach K, it's that the most important games that he loses are usually against teams from Carolina. Davidson is right down the road near Charlotte. I think Davidson's going to beat him. I think there is no better way for Coach K to go out than to lose in the second round to a 10 seed from 2 hours away.
This seems very poetic. It's very hard for me to pick against Duke here because this is a very much so this game is tradition / gut feeling / narrative / what will be fun.
All right, I think we've lost Jack. Yep, Jack's frozen. He's reconnecting. Obviously, the road trip takes a little toll on
Can you hear me?
Service. Yeah, I can hear you a little better now. I think you're going through a rough patch.
Am I good? Okay.
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Yeah, my service is not particularly awesome right now. Okay, I'm a little tough on this one, so I actually want to go to the tiebreaker ahead of time just to sort of see what James has to say here because I'm very conflicted with this game.
So, if Duke comes out, and we were at this game, so we know, but if Duke comes out and plays like they play against Syracuse, not a single team in the country beats them. because that Duke team shot the lights out and they defended well and they were using the pick and roll well. But the thing is the biggest factor is if Mark Williams gets into foul trouble, Duke ain't doing much. But I also think this is probably one of the best Davidson teams, if not the best Davidson team we've seen since Steph Curry. And because of that, Davidson's going to the Sweet 16.
Yup. I love that.
And I guess I'll fall in line. My vote.
All right.
My vote is out counted there. So I wanted
Davidson to the Sweet 16. I had to plug in my computer. I
That
apologize.
will be classic.
All right. So Davidson to the Sweet 16. Baylor, UNC. Here's a fun fact. The defending national champion, I believe the past 5. I need to see this. There is a great stat about.
Oh, freak.
You good, my G?
Stepping on this a lot.
Trying to find this because it's another great stat. Darn, I cannot find the stat.
Switch.
Either way, okay. Defending national champions have a very hard time statistically of making it back to even the Sweet 16. I think this is very ripe for an upset. I think Baylor is not going to get past the Sweet 16, even if they do win this game. So I'm going to go with Carolina here.
I agree. Roll heels. I think they're
All
going
right.
to win this game. I think Baylor is the weakest 1 seed by a pretty good margin.
Well, Baylor also sucks, so let's just...
And Waco is stupid.
Waco is a terrible, awful, godforsaken place.
You are correct.
Shout out Chip and Joanna Gaines for just absolutely being the only thing in Waco. It's the only thing. It's like, oh, what can we do in Waco? Oh, let's go to Magnolia, the silos. That sounds like a fun day. I love Fixer Upper. That's the one thing to do in Waco.
Which mind you can watch that nationally. You don't have to go to Waco to see that.
Exactly.
The one thing there is remote.
Yeah. Let's go to Magnolia. Okay. UNC to the Sweet 16. St. Mary's, UCLA. This is a fun one. I'm going with UCLA because I think they have the superior talent, but I wouldn't be surprised if a veteran team from St. Mary's made it a little weird here.
I'm actually with the Gales on this one. I think St. Mary's can pull this off. I'm not sure about UCLA. I'm looking forward to that. So,
Tiebreaker. Johnny Juzane, UCLA. I'm taking UCLA.
Bang.
pain.
Can never trust a team from the conference that shares the conference with the waves of Pepperdine. You can't do it.
Yeah. I'm about that.
The waves of Pepperdine.
I've been to Pepperdine. Not a great basketball school.
No.
Hey, throw back
You
to
wanna
Oregon
surf?
State where they
Yeah.
made the Sweet 16 and went 3-28 this season.
Oh. Yeah,
Yes,
that's how you
Oregon State.
keep the momentum going, baby.
Oh, God.
All right. Virginia Tech, Purdue. I'm so scared to pick Purdue in this game, but I think they have the size. I think they have the guard play. Everything looks good for Purdue. It's just the program in general that I worry about.
I think I know Virginia Tech is hot, but it's hard to trust that forever, and I think their talent's going to run out here. I think Purdue will win.
All right. Agreed. Murray State, Kentucky. First off, John Calipari is not a good basketball coach. He's a glorified gym teacher who can recruit. John Calipari is the Butch Jones of college basketball.
Okay, but at least he won something.
Yeah, because he had Anthony Davis, who was the best college basketball player in 10 years. And then he immediately choked. He immediately choked in the subsequent season with an even better team that went undefeated until the Final Four.
That was such a good team. This team was ridiculous.
Coach Cal is a joke. The Kentucky program is a joke. Murray State has only lost, 2 games this year? 2 games. 2 games.
They've been so good.
Kentucky isn't even the best team in their own state. Racers by 1,000,000.
Okay, I'm not as confident as you are, but I do think Murray State can pull off. Also, I just love picking upsets.
I just hate Coach Cal. I hate Kentucky so much. Oh my God. Are we picking Murray State? Are we doing it?
I like Murray State here. I think they can win.
I think so too. Especially if Coach
It's
Cal
a wild
puts together
bracket.
an all-time coaching job. Okay.
Hey, we've seen crazier. You never know.
Arizona versus TCU.
I love TCU, but Arizona's so good.
And so
good.
much better than TCU is the real.
I love TCU this year, and I really do think they're good, but this draw is horrendous.
Hey, I mean, for TCU, just winning a game is a good start, right?
Oh, if we lose to Arizona, there's no shame in that at all.
No,
There's no shame in that.
not at all.
I just want to be competitive. Just have a competitive game. That's all I ask.
UAB versus Illinois. I really want to pick UAB, but I am going to go chalk here.
It's hard for me to think that Illinois is going to blow 2 years in a row before the Sweet 16. I don't think it's going to happen. They need to win this game.
I agree. All right, Colorado State, Tennessee. Go Vols! First off.
They're the much better team.
They are the much better team. I think Rick Barnes can get rid of some of his demons from the past couple years here, get to the Sweet 16, beat a good Colorado State team. So Vols by 90 there. And Loyola Chicago, our old friends. They join us year after year for they're an agent of chaos, if you will.
They are.
They're an agent of chaos in the postseason, and this year I think they've used up their 2 cards. They don't have their coach anymore, Porter Moser, now at Oklahoma. I think there's only so much coaching Sister Jean can do from the stands, especially against Jay Wright and the Wildcats of Villanova. I got Villanova moving on here.
I know we're moving from insanity bracket to chalk bracket, but I feel like this is a really tough out, and I don't really see how Loyola is going to make lightning strike that many times. And I love you, Sister Jean, I really do, but I feel like Villanova is too tough of a team to beat.
I agree with you.
That early.
Yeah. All right, Kansas versus Creighton. I feel like this one could get interesting because while Kansas did earn a 1 seed, it is not the most impressive Kansas team that we've seen in recent memory from a talent standpoint, but they do have Remy Martin back for the tournament. I'm going to go with the Jayhawks here, but I think Creighton could really, really make some noise here.
I'm going to stick with Fetty Wap and the Remy boys, and we're going to go with Kansas.
All right. Kansas versus Creighton. Iowa versus South Dakota State in the round of 32. South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits are electric. They're going to make waves.
They might win this game. I think it's possible.
But what's your pick?
I know who I have in my Elite Eight, but I am. You know what? There's always a double-digit seed that makes it this far. Why not the Jackrabbits?
Why not the Jackrabbits? We've already got Davidson in there, but that's fine. We're hedging our bets. All right.
That's true.
Iowa State, Wisconsin. What do you think? I think Wisconsin.
Iowa State is not that good.
They're really not.
They're good enough to beat LSU because LSU is a broken team. But
could have said the same thing about Oregon State last year. 12 seed from a major conference?
Well, there's a big difference there. Oregon State won the Pac-12, so they had a ton of momentum going in. Iowa State did not. So there's a big difference on that end. So Oregon State was a very big sleeper pick, but at least it had some momentum. I don't think Iowa State. The only reason I think they're beating LSU is because LSU is going to beat themselves. But Wisconsin's a much better team. They'll win that game.
All right, Auburn USC. This game is really going to come down to guard play because both teams have stellar front courts. But I don't know. I think Jabari Smith really shows why he's the number one pick in this game. But what do you think about USC's guard play versus Auburn?
But how has USC faced off against high quality talent this year? Because I know they've not really done great against UCLA.
So I actually don't. Let me go back. I know they got beat
the
by.
Icons. That's what I want to see because I feel like they haven't really played as great against top competition.
So let's see where. They lost twice to Arizona. Lost twice to UCLA. Okay, they don't really have any good wins on here.
Then I'm going to go with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Auburn.
USC can't really play great against the good teams. And that's a Pac-12 conference that is a solid conference, but you had 4 shots against both UCLA and Arizona, and you went 0-4. I mean, that doesn't really – if that's supposed to impress me, it's not doing a great job.
All right, here we go. We are on to the Sweet 16. Okay. Gonzaga versus Yukon. This is going to be a barn burner, I think. But I'm going to go with Gonzaga here. Yeah.
I know it's not fun, but I don't see them losing this game.
It's not, but that's okay. All right. Texas Tech versus Davidson. I think Davidson's run-ins here.
Yeah.
A team that can actually clamp them down.
Yeah. Tech's got the perfect solution for them.
All right, just going how we've been going. I'm going to go down, and then we'll go back up.
Yep.
All right, UNC versus UCLA.
Battle of the Blue Bloods.
True blue blood battle.
Yeah.
What do you think? And I know you were waiting for me to say something because you don't have a decision made yet.
I know.
I threw the reverse card on you.
No, I know. I think Juzang may be good enough to get it done for the Bruins here. Just because UNC has struggled against some top competition. I know they've gotten the job done against Duke recently, but I think that was more of just a beating Duke thing. And I get that the Baylor win would be big, but I also think the Baylor is very shaky. I just think what we've seen with UCLA is this specific group of guys can get it hot in the tournament. And I think they can keep it up here.
I think so as well. I like Mick Cronin to win this game. Good coaching job there. All right, Murray State versus Purdue. Now let me hit you with some stats. Purdue has never beaten, and I need to go back and find this stat. Okay. Let's find this statistic. So Purdue, regardless of the statistic that I'm trying to find, Purdue is undefeated under Matt Painter against seeds 4 through 7. So I think the Racers' run ends here, and I'm very skeptical about this Purdue team because I know we've seen them choke a lot in the tournament. But I think this year might be a little different. And again, I mean, history is on your side here. Purdue has never lost to a 4 through 7 team under Matt Painter.
I think I'm going to trust that stat. I'll go with the Boilermakers. I think there's a lot of quality on that team.
All right. So our final 2 matchups of the Sweet 16. We've got Kansas versus San Diego State. It's been a great run. South Dakota State.
Yeah.
It's been a great run for the Jackrabbits, and I think you can rest on your laurels here.
In a battle of the flyover states, Kansas is taking this one.
Yeah. All right. Wisconsin versus Auburn, a total barn burner.
That'd be a wild game to be at. Oh,
Wild game because Auburn, I think, has a very distinct advantage in the front court. However, Johnny Davis is pretty unstoppable. And we talked about already how bad Auburn's guard play has been at times, including in the SEC tournament. Also, fun fact, a team who has lost in the first round of their conference tournament and secured a top 3 seed has never gone on to win the national championship. So you can go ahead and write all of those teams out right then. Auburn, sorry, not in the first round, in their first game of their conference tournament. Either way, Auburn lost their first game of their conference tournament. I think the road ends for them here. Good team, like Bruce Pearl, former volunteer, and I'm going to go with Wisconsin here.
This one I think is a little tricky because I think both these teams have brought a lot of really high quality stuff to the table. But yeah, I may have to agree with this one and go with Wisconsin. I think that they've brought together a really, really strong run down the stretch. Winning that Big Ten tournament was winning the Big Ten was a big deal, and I think that matters for a lot. And I think that Auburn's really struggled against that high competition at some point. So I'll go with them there and have that call.
All right. So we are on to the Elite Eight.
Oh, we missed one.
Oh, we missed one? What did we miss?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. How did we miss that?
We really missed it.
Arizona, Illinois. That's going to be a really good game.
I still have the Zags. I still think they're too good.
You mean Arizona?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking Z word. Yes.
Tennessee versus Villanova. We've already seen this game once this year, but Tennessee took a little bit of coming into their own, especially with just working Kennedy Chandler into a team that is absolutely packed with veteran talent. Zakai Ziegler has been very good. John Fulkerson making a lot of impact. And a couple of foreign guys on the roster as well that are really shooting the lights out lately. So I'm going to go with the Vols, obviously. But I am curious as to what you have to say about this.
I think this is an interesting matchup because we're facing two teams that have very similar, obviously, into their season, with both of them having really solid runs in their conference tournament, but neither of them dominating in the regular season. They had solid regular seasons, but they both have had really, really, really good runs in their tournaments and winning out. And so by this point, both these teams would be on quite a very long hot streak, which does mean a lot. But yeah, I think that difference. I may want to get James's take on this one because I might be leaning a little more for Villanova. So let's see what you have to say.
All right.
say the game again. I'm focused on the Buffalo Bison's arena.
Oh,
or stadium.
yeah,
sorry,
the Buffalo Bison's minor league,
aka the home of the Toronto Blue Jays for the past.
Oh, nice.
It's a very sad.
What
stadium.
is this? Zona Nova?
No. Villanova against Tennessee.
Nova against Tennessee. Oh man, that's a good game. Nova's been kind of shaky this year at points. And I really like Tennessee. Tennessee's in my Final Four. So I'm taking Tennessee to the moon for this game, man. I'm taking Tennessee.
Tennessee to the moon. I love to hear that. Vols all the way. Okay, we're now down to the Elite Eight. And let me get a timestamp here. We are down to the Elite Eight. First game, Gonzaga, Texas Tech. Take it away.
If anybody could maybe upset Gonzaga, I think that Tech may have the chops to do it. I think this may be a possible time that Gonzaga could fall.
I'm with you.
Because I think that they have a defense that's able to stop this team.
I'm with you.
And I get it's a little bit of a crazy pick, but I'm liking it a little bit. Gotta figure out where we're parking, but that's true.
All right. So we got Texas Tech there. UCLA versus Purdue. I so desperately want to say Purdue, but I cannot pick Matt Painter to the Final Four. I can't do it until it happens.
I just don't think.
It's kind of
I
like
don't know.
Tua.
I don't
I'll
see
believe it when I
UCLA
see
being a
it.
Final Four team.
I don't either, but I don't see Purdue being a Final Four team, and this is the corner that we've backed ourselves into.
Unfortunately, you are correct. But at the end of the day, if this is the matchup, one of these teams must go to the Final Four. So
I'm going to take the team that's actually been there.
Yeah, it's most the same guys anyway, so probably better odds for that.
God, I hate picking a 4 seed to the Final Four. 4 seeds suck historically. Okay, Kansas, Wisconsin. I think this is the end of the road for the Badgers. We've seen them drop. We've seen them drop some games down the stretch. Kansas, like we said, it's not their best team, but they're playing really well.
Yeah, Kansas. I think Kansas is going to do it. I think they're good enough to win this game. Sadly, Bill Self is not good enough to win his marriage back and get back from cheating on his wife, but I do think he's good enough to win this game. So there is that at least.
That's not the only thing he's cheated on.
That is true. He is very good at cheating across all levels.
One of my favorite memes ever was from the Kansas FBI probe or whatever, when all that stuff was coming out about Bill Self, and someone said the NCAA is so mad at Kansas they're gonna fine Memphis.
Makes sense.
Because you've got to blame the newcomers for the sins of the blue bloods. You've got to earn your right to cheat in this sport.
I believe it. I believe it.
All right, Arizona, Tennessee. I got the Vols. I think it's a big year for 3 seeds.
This one's tough for me because.
Also, were you aware beforehand that you were tying yourself by doing this bracket with me? You were tying yourself to just picking Tennessee to win every game.
No, I do genuinely believe they're going to win a lot of games. I wasn't just picking them to pick them, but look back at the games they faced. I got to pull up the camera, but Longwood, Colorado State are 2 games that I would say most people would think they're going to win. And I do genuinely think they can upset Villanova. They've beaten teams at that level this season. Arizona, though, is going to be tricky. And I'm more still on the Arizona side, which I guess is a little chalkier, but I'm going to have
These 2 teams actually already played. Tennessee only lost by 4, and that was very early in the season. These teams are ranked right next to each other in ESPN's BPI, 4 versus 5. I think Tennessee plays in a better conference.
So,
yes, perfect, awesome.
I think it's fair, but I think Arizona. I'm trying to read this, but Arizona's also 1 more, to be fair, and 1 head-to-head. So
I'm sorry. Tennessee beat Arizona, and that was before they got really good. I read that right.
Narrow as all hell. That's what I say. Oh my God.
Arizona, Tennessee.
It's going to be insane to get out of here. Arizona, Tennessee. I'm taking Arizona.
All right, there's
I'm going with the Zags as well. Sorry, buddy.
They're not the Zags for the second time.
Sorry. I keep thinking Z.
It's the Wildcats.
I have Z on my mind. I'm so sorry. I'm so convinced of the Z.
We're down to the Final Four.
Final Four. What?
The Final Four.
It's pretty tiny, right?
Maybe.
And for our Final Four, we have Texas Tech, UCLA, Arizona, and Kansas. So no new teams in the Final Four. Let's start with the Texas Tech UCLA game. I got Tech.
I also have Tech. I think they have the team to make another run back. This would be crazy.
I absolutely agree with you, actually. Arizona, Kansas. I think it's the end of the road for the Jayhawks. Arizona's got more talent. They're the hotter team.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, so Texas Tech versus Arizona for the national championship. Jack,
For the
I want to
last
hear your
time,
pick.
I will get the name right. The Arizona Wildcats.
Those Zags, man.
Not the Zags, but the
Arizona Zags.
Zona.
Your
I think
national
that they're good
champion,
enough.
the Arizona Zags.
Gosh. I'm going to make the Blank Coverage Podcast bracket on my own account, and it's going to be called the Arizona
Zags. Let's say 69. That has to be the winning score on all of these. 69 to 61 for the tiebreaker.
Well, all we know at the end of the day is that if any of you watching want a perfect bracket, you have one right here. Bracket.
This is it. This is the perfect bracket. If you want to win, an Acura and the All-State $500,000 and a trip to the Final Four, this is it. Put this bracket in. This is the perfect bracket.
Yes, perfection.
All right. Let's look over it one more time just to get a good look at it, because I just love looking at a filled out bracket.
And then we have to go. We've parked in Buffalo, so.
All right. It has the Arizona Zags stamp of approval.
Oh God.
All right. So that is our bracket. Unfortunately, we have Arizona winning it all. It's either going to be Arizona or Tennessee. I mean, there's not really any other teams I think that can win a national championship. But enjoy your day in Buffalo, Jack. Thank you so much for listening and watching the Blanket Coverage Podcast. We hope your bracket gets so, but I could not hope more that your bracket, you, the viewer, the listener, that your bracket gets so busted over the next 2 days, because I know for a fact mine is. And I really hope everyone's out there making some money off this. But as we know, people are going to bet favorites, and those favorites are going to lose a lot and not cover. So be careful betting favorites. Bet underdogs. Underdogs are way more fun to cheer for. Bet underdog spreads. Take a 16 seed. Take a 15 seed. Do something crazy. Have fun. This is March.
We made it, baby. This
is
Woo!
Woo! All right. I'm so pumped to watch basketball. I'm so pumped. All right. This has been the Blanket Coverage Podcast. For now, I'm Noah Parker.
I'm Jack Wallace.
Peace out, y'all.